This conference will now be recorded.
Hi everyone, let's start this session. So today I'm going to talk about streaming concept. Before I start, any questions till last session, whatever we covered?
Hello, sir. Am I audible?
Yeah, you're on.
Yes, sir. Just I have some doubts, sir. Just give me an
Yes.
level difference. So right now we are using Hive, sir, my project Hive database. But
Okay.
the proposal is we need to use Pala. So why?
Okay.
What main difference? The difference Hive and Pala? Why will why we are going to use Impala?
Okay. And are they saying only Impala, not Spark?
Spark is there. Already Spark is there. So Spark plus Hive. So right now we are working with Hive database. But
Okay.
yeah, the proposals are coming like I mean just check to use the Impala. So which one is best? Some kind of questions are coming.
Okay.
The main difference Hive and Impala. So basically
Okay.
we will deal with the files feeds. We will parse the files basically, store the data into Hive, and just we read the data and we transform the data, we store into some other tables. This is
Okay. Your voice is breaking, but let me give the answer to you. Yeah. So the main difference between Impala and Hive is like what? Both are processing only. There is no difference in that.
okay.
1 second. So both will process the data which is there in Hadoop, and it will use same metastore DB and Hadoop, and as well as metastore DB also. Both will be pointed to the same. So intention of the Hive and Impala both are same. So Hive is like what? It store the information in metastore DB and Hadoop, and whenever you run like what, it will run a map to disk programs.
Okay.
This is what the main implementation. So this Impala is implemented by Cloudera people. So you might be using the Cloudera distribution. So that's the
Right.
reason like what this Impala is coming to the picture. Okay. So these people are like what develop. So they know the problem of MR. It is a disk level processing.
Okay.
Anything we want to process means it has to read from the disk right into a disk like this. So they want to get rid of this disk. That's the reason like what they introduce the concept of Impala. Same like Hive, but only difference is like what Impala won't use MapReduce.
Okay. Okay. So anyways, we are going to cover na, sir. So Impala.
We nothing specific to cover because if you know Hive means I can say you know Impala also. Just only like what is architectural point you need to understand only. Okay, I'll tell
Oh,
you the reason. Okay, so anyway the discussion is came. Let it continue now. So the Impala don't use MapReduce. How exactly Impala is implemented like what nowadays what we have it in the market like what Spark. This is before Spark implemented the Impala point. That's the reason I asked like what are they using Spark? If they're using Spark, Impala is not really a matter for them. They no need to go with Impala. Okay.
okay.
Spark is a completely in-memory processing. Spark also just need like what the data in Hadoop and metastore. So Hive need this metastore and Hadoop. Spark need this metastore and Hadoop. Impala need metastore. Everything is need only these two things. Okay, because these are all just utilize this data to process it all. So they don't have any storage. Okay, as I mentioned, Hive doesn't have any storage. I clearly mentioned. No, Hive stores the data here. Similarly, Spark also doesn't have any storage. Impala also doesn't have any storage, but they provide some features for us. So that features is like what SQL. The nature of the SQL they are providing it now. Okay, so when we are going with the Hive, so it providing the SQL nature, but the background operation it's running is like what MR style now. And when it comes to the Impala, like what, it's not a MR. They come up with their own processing technique as an in-memory processing, similar to Spark. They also have like what, in-memory processing it now. So with the help of this in-memory processing is like what, Impala is faster than the Hive. That's the reason like what this Cloudera people are introduced. Why they developed this one, like what, they want to make the operations are little faster, and also they want to promote their product. Cloudera, they want to promote it now. For that promotion purpose, like what, they implemented like what, little faster than the Hive now. So whatever the data we have it in the Hive, you can feel free to use it in Impala. That I'll be going to showcase it in the session also, because whatever the query you run here, you can also run the same query here. The result, everything will be same, but only difference is like what, this will run through MR. This is not going to run through MR. That's the only difference now. The architecture aspect, like what, Impala can be more scalable also. Hive is not scalable. You got the idea? The main
Yeah.
idea that what are the queries you learn in Hive, same thing is applicable in Impala also.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
mainly to make your operations are faster. It's in-memory computation. Instead of disk level, it's an in-memory computation. Same thing like what nowadays Spark is solving it. People are not going directly Impala. Spark is there now. That's the reason like what this Cloudera people also like what, they made this open source around 2017. Almost 5 years back, like what, it is moved to the Apache also. So they are not doing any extra implementation because they know Spark is the market leader. This is not going to only companies. They, in place of Hive, they are using it. But in place of Hive, what people are using it like what, Spark, not Impala.
Okay. Okay. Got you.
But as per your business requirement, you have to go what they say. But that's the intention behind.
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Good question. Anyone else?
Yes, sir. One question.
Yeah, please.
So the queries whatever we are executing in Hive, the same queries we can execute in the Spark, sir. Like
in Spark also we have an option, no? Similar option will be there. That is what Hive with Spark, no?
Okay.
But generally we don't go like that. But we have a Hive with Spark concept is there, you can execute now. But that's not recommended.
Yeah. Okay, and but the performance is too speed in the Spark, sir.
Yes, it is in memory.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. As part of Spark basics, I'll be going to talk about that. Mostly in the next week, we are going to talk about that.
Okay,
After
sir,
this training concept, I'm starting those topics only. Okay. Yeah, good. Let me go with the streaming concept then. So first, let me give some idea about the streaming. Then after that, like what, I'll just show you what are the technologies we have it now. In our course, mainly we are covering the Flume and Kafka now, but we have plenty of solutions are available under that streaming also. So when we say streaming it now, so most of the people will get a feel like what, continuous data. That is the meaning of streaming it now. But industry wise, there are different meanings is there based on the applications, how they build exactly. Streaming can be a bounded stream or unbounded stream. So continuous flow is like what, not a bounded stream, it's an unbounded now. But there is also a bounded stream. People are implemented bounded stream solution, unbounded stream solution. So what do you mean by that? You have to imagine this, otherwise it's very hard now. So it's very simple thing. Okay. In my home, I have some tap connections are there. Presume some tap connections are here. And at the top of my flat, like what, I have water tank is there with capacity is 100 liters. Assume it 100 liters capacity, like what, water tank is there. Now, whenever I open this tap, water is coming. So will this water will come continuously till lifetime?
No, sir. So how much, whatever the water is there, till that will come.
Okay. Suppose if I want to get continuously this water, whenever I open the tap, I want to get a water. So what kind of operation is supposed to be taken care? Basic question, nothing fancy.
Remove the tank concept. Directly, it should come to tab.
No man, we have to keep on fill the tank. Whenever I open the tap, I want to get a water means, so if the tank having it water on, then it is possible, correct? So whenever tank is becoming empty, we have to fill the water. If you ensure this, keep on filling the water, then obviously keep on water is going to come from the tap. Is it the case or not? Is it clear?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. So why I'm talking about this question is just clearly observe it now. So whenever you open the tap, water is coming continuously. This is what the stream of water. It's coming continuously. But how it will come continuously is like what? Someone in a periodical fashion. Someone in a periodical fashion is filling the water. Someone in a periodical fashion is filling the water. This is also a continuous only, but in a periodically. So this is continuous again. So there is a continuity is there. How the continuity can come like a what? Without any delay, with some delay. This is a continuity without any delay, with delay. That is the only difference of like what? Bounded and unbounded now. Suppose this is the action, the next action, the next action, the next action. Between these actions, like what? The interval is very less. Maybe assume it like what? Fraction of seconds. Between these two, the time interval is like what? Just a fraction of seconds. So then people will feel like what? Obviously it is a continuous operation. Between these two, like what? The time interval is like what? Maybe 10 seconds. Then what happened? Like what? You just open a tap with slow flow. What happened? One drop will be there. Again, after a few seconds, next drop. Again, after a few drop, your open a tap now. It will be having. So now next drop by drop. Now you open the tap little fast means like what? These drops are continuously will come. So continuous. Just give me a minute. It's some disconnectivity. Let me rejoin other network. Yes, sorry. I hope everyone is able to hear me now. Okay. So what I'm pointing is previously like what? So how exactly the data is coming? So bounded, unbounded. The difference is like what? So if you look at now, the only observation, you can make bounded stream as a unbounded stream. You can make unbounded stream also a bounded stream. So how we are doing it? This relation only we have to look at. Based on that, some people are implemented bounded stream as an unbounded stream, bounded stream as bounded stream. There are different applications in big data. You might be learning it like what? Based on this concept now. What is bounded stream is like what? It's a continuously coming one is like what? Bounded stream. What is unbounded stream is like what? It will be coming continuously, but there will be a break after a certain time. Maybe it might be after 1 minute or 1 day, after 1 year, after 1,000 years, but there might be a break. There might be a break. So that's what like what? Bounded means there is a start will be there, end will be there. Unbounded is like what? Only start will be there, end is not there. Is that relation is everyone is clear now? Bounded and unbounded now? Okay. So now how we have to observe this one? Okay. Let's take an example is I'm getting a data. Can someone mute if you're not speaking? I'm getting a data. So whenever I'm getting this data continuously, whenever I'm getting this data continuously, this is a unbounded. But please observe here now, this itself is a bounded. This itself is a bounded. This is a small chunk of the data. Maybe having like what? 1 KB size or 1 byte size. This is a bounded. These boundeds are coming continuously. These boundeds are coming continuously. Then we can able to make like what other system as like what unbounded. Like you have a drop of water. You keep full that drop of water like what continuously, then what happened like what, then the drop of water will becoming as like what continuous stream flow now. Okay, maybe if you do it slowly, there is also a stream is there, but with slow, small amount of the water is coming now, small amount of the data. It's just a terminology change only. Say how the data is coming is a small data in a coming in a small interval wise or maybe large interval wise. If it is coming continuously, that system having like what continuous stream. Okay, otherwise it might be coming for like what maybe 1 hour or 2 hours, after that it is stopping. That is a bounded stream. So how exactly people are implemented is how data is coming, is the start is there or end is there also. If you talk about MapReduce also we have a streaming concept now, but MapReduce is a bounded stream. MapReduce is a bounded stream. Why it is a bounded stream? Like what, you have a file, but file doesn't have like what infinite blocks now. File having like what some bounded blocks, maybe like what 10 blocks or 5 blocks like this. First this mapper is completing, then mapper, then mapper, then mapper, then mapper, then mapper. Then after that your job has to finish it. So there is a start point for our job, end point for our job now, because all mappers are completed, then reducer is there, reducer also completed, our job is done. That is a bounded. That is a bounded no. MapReduce, Hive, Pig, all these are comes under like what bounded stream application no. But what we are talking about Flume and Kafka, like what these are supports like what bounded as well as unbounded. What do you mean by bounded as well as unbounded means? So this supports like a what starting point, end point, both will be having it. There is also one more way they support like what only starting, end is not there. It can come continuously also. That application supports like what continuously also. Just a second. Yes, sorry. So now what we want to observe it like what those applications, how it is built and now. So everyone has got the intention of what is bounded stream and unbounded stream. Can we make as a unbounded stream with the help of bounded stream or not? Is everyone is clear? Any clarity you need on this? You're missing something, let me know.
So can you explain once again the bounded and unbounded?
Bounded is like what you will be having a start point and end point. Okay, suppose if you talk about this class now, okay, we have a start point is like what 2 months back, end point maybe like what after 15 days. This is bounded. Okay, but someone is observing you from last 2 months now. Someone is observing the last 2 months like what every day morning, so 7 o'clock like what you're just going to some room and sitting and maybe going top, you're listening something exactly, he's observing. Suppose someone asks the question to that guy like what he's doing, he says like what every day. Why? Because he's observing from like what last 2 months, he don't know when the end now. For him it is a unbounded, for you it is a bounded, because you know the end. If the end we know, that is a bounded. If end we don't know, that is a unbounded. So how it is happening? Daily basis, correct? This class is happening daily basis. Daily is a, again it's a every day is a bounded now. Day is only 24 hours. Okay, like that. So the data, how it is coming in a continuous fashion, For continuously means like what? It is a unbounded, only for certain interval, maybe 1 day, 1 year, 1 month, but there is a boundary. That boundary is like what? Bounded now. Intention is clear?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Any other question by anyone else? Okay. So now next few more terminology which we need to understand here is like real time, near real time, and a batch. Can someone summarize difference between these three things now? Real time, near real time, and batch. What is the difference between these three? What is the difference? What is real time? Why so silent? Small question, man.
Real time, which we are currently experiencing, sir. We are using and experiencing.
What is near real time?
That about to come.
About to
About,
come. Mean
we are going to work like we are going to have that.
no. There's something you're going wrong direction.
Okay.
Can someone else? Okay. Let me give an example. In Google, you type something and press enter. What happened? I type Hadoop and press enter. What happened?
It will show multiple results.
Will that results will come after 1 minute or after 1 day? What is the time interval?
Instantly.
How fast? How slow?
Within a fraction of second.
Within a fraction of seconds. You can feel it yourself that.
Yes.
0.45 seconds. These many results. This number no one can tell less than this time. But the results are came. These many results are like what? Less than this time, less than 1 second. Okay. So these are called as a real-time applications. So what is real time is like what? Given a request, got the response. So the latency is talks about like what? The real time or near real time or batch now. If the real time is like what? The operations are very less time, in a considerable, not even considerable, like what? Ignorable now. Nanoseconds or seconds or maybe like what? Millisecond. This is what like what real time. Give a request, you expect the result at this time. What is near real time is? What is near real time? Like what? You give a request, the response is coming by that application, maybe in a considerable time. I know after 2 seconds. I know maybe after 1 minute the result is coming. Like an example is you are doing a bank deposits. You go to the bank, that person has to enter the details and he has to submit it and he has to approve it. It might take 2 minutes. The deposit might take 2 minutes now. So that is what near real time. Maybe you are doing a check deposit. Maybe you are doing a check deposit. Maybe you are doing like what? NDFS. Okay. So now what happened like what? So when we do check deposit like what? Maybe they take some approval now. Maybe manager, trust manager, like some kind of approval flow is the regime. Okay. So that might take some time, maybe half an hour or maybe 1 hour now. Okay, you might be doing RTGS transaction maybe, so that might be also like what? Bank to bank approval might require now. Okay, so that might take, so those comes under like what? Batch processing. It is little more than as expected time. So what is exactly is how you build your application. You can build your application as a real-time application, near real-time application, batch application. When you say real-time is like what? The application will give results are in a fraction of seconds and seconds only. Near real-time is like what? In a considerable time as per the application expectation was. That is okay. Maybe 1 minute, 10 minutes also okay, but not like a days and months now. Batch is like what? Little longer, maybe hour or day or month or year. That is what batch is. The time interval is little longer now. So based on this requirement wise, like what we have different streaming solutions are there. Whatever we learn till now, like what MapReduce or Hive or Pig or Scoop comes under like what? Batch processing, batch streaming. It little time taken. Whenever you run a Scoop job, you observe like what I said, it will take 2-3 minutes like this. Wait, that's what I said, correct? Because it's a time taken. It is not as fraction of seconds now. It's not like what 1 second or 2 seconds now. But when we go for like what the application which we are learning right now is like what Flume and Kafka. Okay, these comes under near real time. Okay, whenever some data is coming, I can say like what? Yes, in a less than 1 or 2 seconds you will receive that one. I'll guarantee that, because these systems are like what? Near real time now. Okay, they implemented like what? Whatever the data it is getting it like what? They'll ensure it to give it to the next person like what? In a less than as expected time now. But we also have a other solutions like what? Real time. There are very less solutions in the market real time now. Storm and Fling now. So this will be like what? Fraction of seconds operations. Okay, you just hit it something, immediately you get it results. It's more in-memory computation. It is going to play a role in this application. Depends on the requirement wise, we have to choose the solution. Every solution doesn't support all the features now. And similarly, as I said, like what? We have a bounded stream solutions are there, unbounded stream solution. These are all comes under bounded stream solution. And these comes under like what? Unbounded stream solution. Okay, if you look at now, these two combination I have written here. And also we have data accessing solutions are there, data processing solution is it. Now suppose if I consider this is a data accessing solution, unbounded stream with a near real time. Like this, like what? One solution can be in a different combination here now. Is that point is clear here now? Okay, what is the difference between data access and data processing? Is data access means it just take the data, give it to you, just like a courier boy. You just order like a what? Maybe food. What that guy will do like what? It just take the order from there and give it to you. He don't taste that. That's not his responsibility. Data access means that it just take the data and give it to you. It won't do anything with the data. Data processing means like a what? It will analyze it. Like if you go to airports or maybe bus stations or maybe some VIP locations, like what? They will scan you. What exactly is there? They'll verify everything. After that only they allow you. So data processing is like what? It take the data, it analyze it. It will analyze it, analyze the report is going to give it to you. So that is what data processing. Okay, so the Flume and Kafka, these solutions are initially developed for data accessing purpose. Initially developed. Okay, nowadays they also support data processing now. Okay, everything is possible nowadays now, but as a by design what they meant for, that's what I have written here. Okay, by design MapReduce is meant for batch, but through MapReduce nowadays also I can do near real time. Through MapReduce also I can make it like what? Unbounded also. This is possible, but by design, what is exactly by design like what? They are as per this category. Okay, and where people are like what? Implemented what purpose like what? Most of the use cases are like what? Basic use cases. Why it is started these applications like what? Most of them reasons to solve this one. One of the main reason is weblog analysis. This is the old problem, and to solve this problem only most of the solutions what I written in the above like what they implemented in older days. Weblog analysis. What is weblog analysis like what? If you go to Flipkart, Amazon, any place like what, you click on some item. Next time like what, they will be going to say like what, you may like this item also. You're interested to buy these items. You are looking for these items. They start giving some suggestions to you. How they are able to give that suggestion is like what? Backend there is a logic called weblog analysis. whenever user clicked on that item, no, that information through the streaming applications like what they capture it and send it to the machine learning system. That machine learning system will identify like what the person might be looking these type of items now. Next time whenever he log into the website, like what, show these item to him like what. That's the way like what user can feel, okay, I might be interested on this instead of spending long time. Like what he can. That's what like what generally when you go to any shop, like what, why the shop person will ask like what you are looking. If he's not asking that question, you unnecessarily roam entirely. Okay, if you ask that question like what, he can redirect to the right place. You can redirect to the right place, and from there you pick the right item. That's what like what the systems also manually they can't do it, they should do automatically. So for that these streaming systems are like what very useful them. So weblog analysis is a very famous use case. And the next one is like what, social media. Nowadays everyone is in social media, so much of like what data is there now. So maybe in elections time, or maybe like what people want to promote some person or anything, is like what they using like what nowadays common media is like what, social media only. With this like what, they're getting huge publicity now. So sentiment analysis, what is sentiment analysis is like what, some post is published. Whenever the post is published, like what, people will be going to give a comments on that post. They might give likes or dislikes. Okay, so based on the likes and dislikes, or maybe like what, whatever the comment he given now, based on that we can say like what, this might be a positive or this might be a negative post now. Sentiment analysis is mainly based on that. In Amazon, like what, if you look at what they do, like what, they categorize the comments now. So positive comments, negative comments, neutral comments now. So there are 1,000 comments are there. Positive, generally you don't look for much now. People will concentrate on the negative now. Okay, so negative, what kind of comments people are talking about now? Is it acceptable or not? Some people maybe they receive the old phone now. Okay, it's a negative comment, so that might be like what, sender having a problem now. Okay, so maybe like what, like that out of 1,000 like what, 900 messages are like what, sending a old phone, because he might be reselling or something is doing it. Okay, we want to analyze that. The sentiment analysis is the one of the useful technique now people will use in the streaming concept there. Okay, and also customer behavior analysis, what is it, likes, dislikes, this will help you to identify like what behavior on that one. And in coming to the banking sector, like what, fraud detection, making inactive customers as active customers. What do fraud detection is like what, one transaction is happening in Hyderabad at 6 o'clock, after that like what, from same account like what, at 7 o'clock like what, from US one more transaction is happening. The one person cannot be there in a different geographical location in a short time. That's not possible. So that means like what, either first transaction or second transaction might be a fraud now. We need to validate that. User might be like what, staying in India all the time, first time he's doing the transaction in the US might be, then we have to suspect like what, is the transaction is valid or not. Give a call to the person and verify that mobile verification, after that only allow the transaction. So that is the way like what, that should happen in a real-time fashion. Otherwise like what, after amount to withdraw like what, if you do it also no use. So that is a place again streaming concept is going to play a role now. Making inactive customers as active customers, nowadays everyone is doing that fun. If you open your Gmail or like what, any other application like what, you will get too many notifications from like what, whichever the account you are not using. Suppose you are not using the Facebook, they keep on sending a message to you like what, your friend is requesting this, your friend is watching this, your friend is sending message this. You might see like what, daily 10-20 messages now. The reason is they want you to watch the Facebook now, then only they will get market. So making inactive customer as an active customer. Similarly like what, your bank balance is very less. Okay, so they will ask you like what, we will give some offer like what, 5% cashback if you do withdraw on this. They know amount is not there, how can you withdraw something, how can you do that? So if you deposit some amount now, they will get a revenue out of that. Like that, making inactive customers as active customers like what, in a batch style. Some of the things like what can be done in a batch style, some of the things can be done in like what, in a relative fashion. So most of the use cases you might see nowadays like what, if you went to Flipkart for some time, you do some operations like what, next time you will get a message like what, from HDFC Bank or ICICI Bank like what, if you start using Flipkart or something like what, we will give 5% cashback. How it is possible is like what? They capture this entire log now, whatever the activities we are doing now. They capture that log with the communication between like what their customers, their partners now. So it will be going to implement it. That's what exactly the streaming use cases. Chart application is everyone knows now. If you send a one chart, group charts are there. Message will redirect all the people. That is backend is like what the streaming technology only they use now. Messaging streaming. Everyone is clear? The intention of the streaming first theoretically. Any questions on this?
Yeah, clear.
Okay. Good. Now let's come to the solution wise like what? The first one I am talking about the flow. The flow initially developed by the Cloudera people only, and later they made it as an open source as part of the Apache. And what is exactly Flume follows the terminology is we will be having a concept of source, channel, sink. There are three main keywords in the Flume is source, channel, sink. So learning of the Flume is like what? How to configure this. You don't need to do any coding. Okay. We just need to configure it. So how to configure the my source, how to configure the channel and sink. Purpose of these three things. These three things we define under the main concept called agent. We define under the main concept called agent. You can correlate with MapReduce program like what? Agent as equivalent to job. Agent as equivalent to job. In MapReduce job, what it contains now? Mapper, reducer. In between mapper and reducer, we will be having like what? Shuffle and sort. Same concept here now. Mapper is equivalent one is like what? Source here. Reducer as equivalent one is like what? Sink here. In between mapper and reducer, we have a shuffle and sort. That is as equivalent here is like what? Channel. Source, channel, sink. Source purpose is like what? Receiving the data. So from where exactly the data is generating it now, it will receiving the data that will send it to the channel. Channel is a temporary storage. It will keep for some small interval time. That after that will send it to the sink. Sink is the final destination. Once it send it to the sink like what? Then operation is done. Source, channel, sink. This comes under completely under a agent. So in Flume, apart from this, there is no other main terminology. The primary terminology is only agent. Under agent, we have a concept of source, channel, sink. You just need to explore these things now. So for that, first I'll show you how to install the Flume. It's a 5-step process. Once it is completed, whatever the terminology I said, like what, everything is documented. We have one page is there. That page exactly we have to look at. Okay, and Flume also nowadays it is becoming outdated in the market. The market leader right now is Kafka. Flume is also like slowly is outdated in the market now. Okay, it's not went away completely, but still some people are using it. In future, maybe in a short interval time, maybe 3-4 years later, Flume won't exist. Already some people like what stop using the Flume. I'm just giving you what is Flume and positives and negatives also, because in future like what you also need to understand why they went going off, all those reasons also, because some alternatives, whenever some best alternatives are coming, people are start using it like what, then they will stop using the medium features. Initially people are use Flume now because in the Flume is there, we don't have alternative solutions now. That's the reason almost from 2012 onwards, like what people are using the Flume because that's the best at that time now. Okay, but nowadays we have some better solutions are there in the market now, and that is one of the main better solution is like what, Kafka. That is the next topic. Let's stick to the first Flume now. So first I am showing how to install the Flume now. So in my admin material, Flume folder and installation steps. First basic 5 steps are common. Just follow it. Okay, let's do it quickly one by one. Copy the file. extract the file. So go to bash rc, update it. Oh, the system having some issue. I installed some softwares. It's actually corrupted my environment. That's the reason it is not opening. Fine, I'll go in a different direction. Nothing will stop, but we can do alternatives. So in this bash rc, I need to add this two lines, Flume home related. Then after that, close the terminal and open it. Okay, so then after that, like what we just need to do one more extra activity is, because of integration under this Flume lib, okay, Goa 11.0 is there. So if you look at here, I provide a message like what, delete this jar file. This is an old jar file. It is not required for us to continue. Just delete this jar file, nothing more than that. Then we can say installation is completed. And if we want to explore the Flume, is under Flume, there is a docs folder. Under this docs, we have a file called Flume user guide.html. This is a recommended file to start learning the Flume. We have clearly everything is documented. We cannot by heart the Flume now. It's very hard now. But come to myself, I given some contribution to Flume. Today, if you ask me like what, tell me what I did, like what, I can't. It's very hard. There are so many keywords will be there now. So whenever people want to use the Flume, like what, they have to follow their user guide, because there are so many properties will be there. You can't by heart it. So please make sure that remember that point now. In this user guide, the left side, if you look at like what, we will be having a set of Flume sources. There are so many Flume sources, you'll find it, and also Flume sinks, Flume channels. We can't by heart all these things now. So, but conceptual, if you understand now, if you follow this HTML file, it's easy to implement or easy to solve any problem. It's no coding is required, nothing you have to by heart it, just conceptually understand. That's what I'm going to convey for next 15 minutes now. Okay, look at the what we need to understand from the Flume. This is the primary diagram, like what, how Flume will be going to be defined. So we will be having a concept of agent. Under this agent, we will define the source, channel, sink. Source purpose is what I said, it collect the data. It collect the data, it give it to the channel. Channel will keep it temporarily, will pass it to the sink, and sink is the final destination. It will be going to send it to. It can be HDFS or local system or HBase or Cassandra or MongoDB to flush it also. Whatever it may be, like what you can. But what are these sources, channels, sinks? That list only in the left side, whatever I shown previously, like what, it is available now. Based on our requirement, we have to use the source, channel, sink. That is the only thing now. Okay, but the how to configure is like what, very simple. What kind of other things Flume supports, like what, is it support only one agent? Is no. Flume supports like what, one to one, one to many, many to one. Flume supports the operations are like what, one to one agent to other agent, many agents to one agent to many agents to. So these are all activities supports. Right now, what are the diagram you are seeing? Just only single, but it can support like this, 1-to-1. What is this 1-to-1 concept is like what? Whatever the activities you did in this first agent, like what we are not completed means we can connect to the next agent, we can continue the next operations. Maybe like what here you are doing some activities, here you are doing some other activities now. So this is 1-to-1 and can be also many-to-one or one-to-many also. If you look at this one is like what? Many-to-one. Example is I want to capture the data from like what different social media. So this might be like what capturing the data from Facebook. This might be capturing the data from YouTube. This might be capturing the data from Twitter. And all this data I want to aggregate it, consolidate in one place now. With the help of many-to-one scenario, you can consolidate. And then after that, like what you can process this data. And maybe you want to process this data in a different location. That is a place like what? One-to-many. Whatever the data you got it now, you can persist into multiple places with the help of one-to-many scenarios. Like this 1-to-1, one-to-many, many-to-one, like these scenarios are possible. What we need to do is we just need to configure this. There's no coding here. We just need to configure. So how to configure that one is simply like this. It's very simple. Okay, we're just having a agent name. For every agent, we will be having a agent name will be there. Under this agent, you can define multiple sources, multiple channels, multiple things. Suppose if you look at this diagram, in this agent, we have 3 channels are there, 3 things are there, 1 source is there. In other scenario might be like what? It can be different. So we can define multiple sources, multiple things, multiple channels. If it is multiple is like what? It will be a space separated. If it is multiple, how to configure like what? Space separated. The name must and should be single word. Should not contain any spaces. If the space is there, it will treat as a two things. That's the reason like what? Whatever the source name, channel name, sync name we are defining, it should be single word now. Underscore is okay, but space is not allowed now. Okay. Then after that, once you define like this, for this particular source, some properties will be there. For this particular source, some properties will be there. Channel sync, everything also particular properties will be there. How to define that one is agent dot sources dot source dot. We need to write agent dot sources dot source dot. Here, what are the properties are there? Right now, one of the properties showing as a channels. It can be any other properties will be there. Those property information you will be going to write like this, line by line we write now. There is no order for this. You can write in any order also. First you can write channel, then you can write sync, then you can write source also. Doesn't matter. But only thing is like what? It expects some mandatory properties. It expects some mandatory properties. Those mandatory properties you have to write. Otherwise, it is not going to work. The next question is, how will I know? As I mentioned, we can't by heart that by looking at this documentation only. Suppose, let me take one source first. In these sources, let me take this source now, Avro source. So this Avro source required like what? 4 mandatory properties. How will I know 4 mandatory properties are now? These are the property names now. Whatever you are seeing in a bold letters, these are all bold letters. There are so many properties are there. All these are not required for you, okay? But which is mandatory? Which is mandatory for you like what? These bold properties. For every source, not only this source now. Maybe if you go for this source, some bold properties are there. If you go for this source, some bold properties. In every source, channel, sync, like what? We will be having some bold properties. Let me take some sync. Here also you have bold property. Apart from the bold properties, these are optional properties. Depends on your need, you can write it. Otherwise, you can skip it also. Is that everyone is clear? What is the concept of agent? How we can define that information based on our requirement? Whatever the sources are there, we have to choose channel, sync, and we have to, how to execute and all those things I'll be showing next now. Okay. Before I enter into that part now, any quick question till here?
So one question. In the real time, so what can be our channels? Sir? Channel.
Is only the channel is not the one. You can ask any question in any source, anything, ask your question. Okay, that's what I'm towards talking about. We'll come there. Okay, fine. Now coming to the next thing is like what is asking, same thing only. Let me showcase to you. We have different channels are there. Okay, which channel we will use it, that is completely our requirement driven now, but functionality if you clear now, then what is the requirement, based on that you have to use it. So we have like what 4 main channels are there, but we are not going to use all these channels. So what are the 4 main channels are memory channel, file channel, JDBC channel, Kafka channel. These are the 4 main channels now. And which is the better, like what, by looking at this you can able to answer. Can you please tell me which channel is better by looking at these points?
Kafka.
Last
Kafka
one.
is the right. Kafka is the better. Why it is better?
It is satisfying the both the requirements.
Your accessing is faster and also persistency is there. No, data will be persistent. If you go with memory channel like what, accessing is faster, but data persistency won't be there. Why? Memory. What is the problem with memory? If suddenly system is crashed,
Temporary.
we lose the data. Correct.
Yes.
Okay, that's the place like what, this is the persistence is not provided now. File channel, why exactly problem with the data access? File, it's a disk level operation. It's reading the data from a file format, not in a memory. JDBC also like what, database calls are like what, too costly. That's the reason like what it is not recommended, not even used for testing us people this one. Okay, so these are the 2 things are initial days most frequently people are using now, but nowadays people are using like what, Kafka now. Kafka is the more reliable and faster. You want that functionality means like what, better to use this one. Okay, so which channel is the better? The answer is like what, your question is this. Is that also clear?
Yes. Just we keep the data for the temporary and we give it to the sync, right? Sir?
Yes.
Yes. Our source can be anything like web server, like you said that the Facebook or anything a source.
Yes.
We take the data and we keep for some time and we give it back to the sync.
Next, that's it. So channel is not permanent. Channel is only temporary. Till that time, that should maintain the data. That's the place only channel is going to be useful.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Now I have built some small use cases now. So we will be going to, based on our requirement, you have to change that one now. I have built some use cases and I have documented like what, more than 14 use cases in my blog also. I'll show you that one. Okay. Let me start with the examples. In this Flume documentation only, Flume examples one file is there. Here how exactly we need to run the Flume command. That's what is given now. Okay, the Flume command is flume-ng, flume-ng, that is a command now. Agent, we need to provide the name of the agent. This is a mandatory, and this name, whatever the agent name is there, this name should be there under the, there is a configuration file. Configuration folder is this one, and the configuration file is inside this file. Completely it should driven with the agent name only. Agent name is the very important now. Okay, so this name, suppose you written as a ABC base, inside this file also you have to define the agent name is ABC, otherwise the execution is not going to work. Okay, agent name is very important now. Suppose here if you take the example like what, Twitter agent, log agent, chart agent, like this some agent names are written now, and inside this file like what, those details will be there. Okay, so Flume supports like what, one of the by default source is like what, to read from the social media Twitter. If you look at the sources, we have a Twitter source. And this is not recommended to use. This is an experimental one. This source is highly experimental. It may change between the minor versions. Okay, this is not recommended to use, just to get a feel like how Flume works. That's the purpose. And you can write your own sources, channel syncs also. But what is exactly this Twitter source functionality is, it read the data from the Twitter. It read the data from Twitter. How it's possible? Okay, so any social media like they provide a development application. So any developer, they want to use a social media like they provide some developer APIs now. With the help of that, we can able to programmatically connect to that social media, can fetch the data. That's what generally we will do it now. Okay, so for Twitter also, like we have a developer APIs will be there now. Using that I can read the data from Twitter now. No need to log into a Twitter account like to get it now. So programmatically also it is possible. For that what exactly we expect from the Twitter is like these are the 4 credentials, not your username password now. Okay, with your username password you need to log into twitter.com. After that there is a URL called apps.twitter.com. There's a URL called apps.twitter.com. This will redirect to developer.twitter.com. Okay, so this is the developer related. Apps.twitter.com is like redirected to the developer.twitter.com with the apps. Okay, and people who want to play anything on this, they should first log into their Twitter account. Now you see it is redirecting to Twitter account now. You have to log into Twitter account now. Once you log into the Twitter account, then after that, if you hit that URL, like then it is possible to view the application. So there you need to create an application. There will be so much process will be there. Nowadays the restrictions are more exactly. So I'm not showcasing that because my account is disabled that aspect now, but you can try it from your end also. So there will be so much process will be there, like you need to create an application. Once you create an application, you will get these credentials: consumer key, consumer secret. Then after that there is a button to generate the access token. You have to generate it. Once you generate it like you will get these 2. Totally 4 credentials we are getting it now. Whenever you create an application, 4 credentials will give. With the help of these 4 credentials, okay, anyone programmatically can connect to your Twitter account. Anyone programmatically can connect to the Twitter account. So what happened, like I given my credentials to so previously my notes somewhere like people misused my account is blocked. So that's what I'm saying. That's the reason like I cannot showcase right now. Okay, so make sure that you do use your account only. That is the only way. So to verify this one, it's not a mandatory to test for you, but how it works to get a feel like you go to twitter.com and log into apps.twitter.com or developer.twitter.com now. Then it will allow you to create an application. Once the application is created, you will get these 2 credentials. Then after that there is a button to generate the access token. Once you generate it like this, once you have these 4 credentials, what is the other 2 mandatory things like these 2? In this type is always this one only. And the channel is like whatever the source data is coming, to whom to send is like channel. To whom to send is like channel now. So that is the next point like in the configuration. So we will be defining like this. This is agent name and source, channel, sync information will be there. Source related like type is this, and which channel you are connecting it. This consumer key, all these things like you have to give it from your account, and this is up to us. How much your batch size and duration in time in millisecond, you can define this. So same way like once the source is defined, we will be also defining the channel and sync also. Right now in my example, Let me go to my examples. Twitter agent. You see, I have defined my agent name as Twitter agent. Sources, channels, sync, and the source name, sync name, channel name can be anything. You can write ABC also, nothing wrong. And Twitter agent dot sources dot whatever the source name you provided with dot type, whatever the name is you provided. No, that is the main thing. This based on this, I will say this is a Twitter source now. Here A, B, C, anything can be. By looking at this, we are not saying it now. By after this dot type, whatever it is saying, based on this, I will say this is a Twitter source now. By name of the Twitter, we are not saying it now. Please keep in mind. The name can be anything. Only like what? The source type. Source type is the exactly will tell you what is the type of the source. This is static. So for every channel source, everything is like what type is static. If you look at for this, type is this. If you look at for this netcat, no, type is this. For everything is like what type is static. We can't change that for now. Okay. Make sure that like what is our source, what is our requirement. Based on that, we need to look for which source might fit now. I want to read the data from my local system. Okay, then file source is there or not, look at now. I want to read the data from some command line, any command line system is there or not. I want to read the data from like what through remote connection, any remote connection source is there, like that. Exactly, we need to look at like what are the sources are available. I recommend you like what everyone just walk through these sources once. It's not a mandatory everything to practice it now. When the requirement came and you do it also, it's fine. Conceptually how source channel sync is working, if you can learn, that's more enough for like what learning of the flow initially when the requirement comes, because daily you are not going to work on the flow. Once in a while, maybe once in a year, or may not be also, you are not going to work on daily. It's a one-time activity. You just define it, forgot it, daily it will do the job, same thing for you. That's the reason like what we don't do any daily work on the this flow. Is the intention is clear everyone over here? Okay, so let's come back to our example. Like what in my example, I have a Twitter agent. These credentials we have to fill it now. I'm not filling right now. I don't have it the information as I mentioned. It's blocked my account. Okay. Then after that, like what I'm also talking about, like what sync related channel related. It can be any order. This can be here. This can be here. This can be here. Any order doesn't matter. Mandatory things should supposed to be there. That's the only intention. Whatever the mandatory bold things are there, that you need to define it. Without that, it is not going to work. I have defined the source. Similarly, let's talk about the sync. Which sync I'm going right now here is like what by type we have to say HDFS. Let me show you HDFS sync. In this HDFS sync, which are the mandatory here? Can you please speak out.
Type
Type
and
and path.
HDFS path.
Type is mandatory always, and HDFS dot path, where you want to write the data in HDFS path and channel. So when we are talking about the sync means sync should know where to fetch the data. Where to fetch the data? Channel. That channel information it is asking here now. These are the mandatory. What is the channel? Type, path. Remaining all these are optional. This is not a mandatory. So depends on our need, we can write it now. Ignore about right now this. Okay. Then after that, like what channel wise, if I go memory channel. In this channel, only one property will be there. Any channel like what mainly one property will be there, that is a type. Okay. So only type only we talk about in the channel. The remaining else are like what optional only. What is this remaining is like what capacity and transaction capacity primarily will be there. What is capacity like what how much it has to keep the data. Transaction capacity like what how many inputs you want to receive it, how many outputs you want to send it to. Because the channel purpose is what it has to receive the data and keep it for some time, it has to send it. So suppose assume it is receiving 10 and it is sending only 2 only. That is not going to be realistic. It receiving 10 means it also has to send 10 now. And if it is 5 only storage, is they're not going to work. 50 makes sense now. Why? Because like what? It is little fast, it is receiving. It's sending maybe little slow means at least it can store for some time 5 into 10, 50 records now. So this generally this number transaction capacity and capacity like what capacity will be little larger than the transaction capacity. Why? Because like what whenever some transactions are not happen, it has to persist. That's the reason like what there should be some space in the memory level, hard disk level. So that is a capacity. Okay, so main property is only type 1. So once you define all these details, properly with the help of this command, like what is the agent name, configuration folder, path of the configuration file, it can keep it anywhere. Now I'm just asking like what, place this folder under Flume home. You can paste it anywhere else also, and this is the path we provided now. You can keep it anywhere. No, just we need to provide the path of the file now. Path of this configuration file you have to provide it to. Like that, if you do it, it automatically going to work. Right now I cannot execute that, as I mentioned like what I don't have the credentials, I can't do it. But you want to try it, just modify these 4 parts now. Just modify these 4 things, it is going to work for you. Okay, any questions, anyone till this point? Only this filling the blanks only. What is the Flume is like what? Just you have to fill in the blanks. You just take the source channel sync, whatever as per need, and just write like what dot with the corresponding information, mandatory things, which are mandatory that you always need to write now. That's the only primary. If you're good, miss, I will show you the next requirement and I'll execute and I'll confirm you the same action.
Yes.
So let me take the next requirement, log event. So this is the use case. So in this log event, what I will do is in the work folder, I will prepare a sample.log is one file, and I will provide the path. Any file you can do it now. This is what my requirement. So I want to tail this log. Whatever the changes are happening in this log in a real-time fashion, I want to capture them. And once I capture them, I want to send it to the file channel in this location. Then from file channel to file sync. File sync is like what? Local system. In this particular folder, I want to persist. So I have used it like what? Type is exec source main purpose is like what? Executing a Unix command. These are the 3 properties are mandatory in the exec source. Okay, and the file channel like what? Main properties only these 2 are like what? I provided a path where I want, otherwise it will go inside your home directory. And directory file role is like what? The type is mandatory, this directory is mandatory, channel is mandatory. This is not a mandatory. What is exactly meaning of this role interval 0 is like what? Don't consider the time point of view, just try to fill the data here. Okay, so what I will do is I'll just run this command. We will get some exceptions. Oh, sorry. Oh, side click is not working. It's also not working. Shit. Oh, how to fix this? is the alternative? That's fine. I'm able to, because my environment I have to fix it. So that is, I don't want to stop you because of that. Right now, if I execute that command, we'll get some exceptions. Look at the exceptions. Can you see some exception here? What is the message? No such file or directory. So what is exactly reason here is, in our sync, whatever the directory we mentioned, this directory we have to create it upfront. Otherwise, you will keep on see this exception only, because it will try to write under that folder. If that folder is not there, it will fail. But when it comes to the file channel, whatever the directory we mentioned now, it will create by system itself only. Okay, let me show you. So Flume test FC. This folder I was not created. This is created by automatically. But under this files folder is not created. I have to create that. Whenever I created that files folder, automatically write a file. The exception is going to stop. Now you can see no exception now. That's a condition like, okay, for like that, the configuration is one thing, and the behavior how it is going to work also we have to. Right now in this, there is no data. Why? Because we are not written any data in the sample.log. Whenever you start writing the data there, you can able to see the same data here. How I'm going to write the data is, so with the help of echo command, just say hello world. In which file I want to do that one is under work sample.log. Can you see this? I have written that. Now the same message you can able to see here. Now I will do keep on this hello world multiple times. Now you can see that hello world this many times. Same thing will be reflected here also. So this is what near real time. It's not in a immediately it's going to happen. It takes some time, some latency it is there now. That is considerable some time now. Okay. So maybe some other message if I just to confirm it is coming really this or not. Okay, I just added this. You can see the same thing. Is that everyone is clear now? How Flume is working now? What Flume is doing it like what? Whenever the source having dump data, this is the sources keep on changing it down. Okay. With the help of like what this command, it keep on capturing the data. It is sending it to the channel. Channel is temporarily storing it and sending it to the sync now. Right now in this location, like what it is writing the data. It can be local file system, it can be HDFS or Hive, anything also. Right now this use case is like what? Writing into a local file system. Next use case I'll showcase how to write into HDFS also. But if the use case in everyone is clear, any question on this? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So similarly, let me try other use case with other source and channel and sync now. So in Flume, this is going to run continuously. It's a continuous, unbounded. So you have to stop it by doing Control C. Then only stop operation is going to happen. Otherwise, it's keep on going to send now. Right now, I did Control C to stop it now. You have to do Control C to stop it if you want to stop it now. But in real time, we don't do. We just run it, we leave it. It will run for like what, lifelong now. That's the concept of Uji. It's streaming continuously. It will be going to do whatever the activities you mentioned. Okay. Similarly, I have a other use case is that, let me showcase it now. This time I want your inputs also. So can you please tell me by looking at this, what is my source channel sync now? At least you got some idea till now. With that knowledge,
Netcat.
netcat is the source. Actual source name is always this. This is just a dummy name. Net source is a dummy name. Actual source is what? Netcat. What is a sync?
Sync is localhost.
What is a sync?
HDFS.
SDFS.
Mhm.
Type. You have to say type. What is the channel? Memory.
Memory.
Okay. Previous one file channel I used. Now we are using like what? Memory channel. Okay. So what is the purpose of this one? Is like what? Netcat is a remote connection. Through remote connection, like what? If anyone sending some messages, those messages will be going to receive and will channel to memory channel to like what? SDFS. So for this, SDFS need to be up and running. Let me verify it first. Is it running or not? Okay, it's not running. Let me start. I'm just starting my Hadoop. Meanwhile, like what? Let me walk through like what some of the important things here. So the mandatory thing is this, this, this. It can be any order you can write, as I already mentioned that one. And optional is this. What is exactly this optional parameters and what I have written here? So there's a file prefix. File prefix, file suffix will be there. No, file prefix is like what? By default, Flume data will be there. If you want to change it, we can change it. Right now here, file prefix Flume data will be there. I change it to like what? Log hyphen. Now you are going to see every file, whatever it is creating, like what? The name will be like what? If you look at here, here some timestamp is there. Okay, but in HDFS, what you will see like what? Log hyphen. The name you're going to see like what? Log hyphen. Then after that, suffix also will be there. What is the suffix like what? .tmp. Extension of the file is like what? .tmp will be going to get when it is in a temporary file. When it's writing in data, temporary file will be there. That is a .tmp. And what is the roll interval and roll count is like what? Roll interval is a time. So time in like what? In seconds now. If you want to keep like what? Any number change, you can keep it. But if you make it as a zero meaning is don't consider it. Right now in this example, what I mentioned like what? Roll interval is 0. That means don't consider the time. Only I'm asking to consider like what? Roll count. By default, roll count is like what? 10 is there. I ask you to change it to like what? 3. If you make it as a 0 means like what? It won't consider now. So concept is like what? It is a R condition. Either this or this or this or this, like this. It is not a and. Okay, any one of them is happen first. If any one of them happen first, that will be taken a priority. Right now, what I mentioned like what? This, don't use it. Only asking to use this one. Whenever 3 records are inserted, create a file. That is what the meaning of like what? Roll count. Okay, so my Hadoop might be up and running it. Let me open through browser HDFS. I might need 5 more minutes. Just stay in the call. So in this particular location, user Flume chart, right now the directory is not there. Only user directory is there for us. You won't see Flume chart. So this automatically going to create now. Whenever I run the command, it automatically will do. I will run this my chart command now. I just hit this one. So what is the expectation is source. So now one remote connection is open with the port is like what 3000. So now I should able to connect to that one. How can I connect that one is with the help of telnet command localhost 3000. With this command I can able to connect to this one. Now here whatever the messages I'm sending a message A, I'm sending a message B, I'm sending a message C. These three messages now it will go to memory channel to SDFS in this location. Let's verify now. Flow chart and why this is .tmp, I already shown that. Why this is log hyphen also I already shown. Okay. Now if you click on this, it's not showing anything but small data A, B, C, whatever the data. But still 3 records I send, it is showing .tmp only. When this file will becoming as a normal one is like what? Whenever I send a fourth message, first 3 messages will be in this file, fourth message will be in one more file with the .tmp. This contains only 3. Now this one contains the fourth message. So that's the meaning of like what roll count here. Okay, suppose now I make it this number as 0, this one as 5. Whenever you modify this file and change it, automatically Flume will take care of this one now in a fraction of in few seconds. Like what, it will observe that you can see there is a message looking for the changes. Whenever it look for these changes, like what, automatically will understand. But now onwards what happened, like what, every 5 seconds, whatever the data might be, 1 record or 1000 record or 2 lakhs records, like what, it will write it now. Previous one is like what, 3 records now, but now it is not 3 records. And whenever it is switching from one flow to other flow, previously whatever the temporary data is there, it will flush it to normal first. Now you can see there are 2 files are there. So I will start sending some dummy data as much as possible in a 5 seconds. As much I can type it, I have done now. Now you can see in this file itself everything will be there. Okay, suppose if you make like this, what is the functionality now? If I make the numbers are like this, what is the functionality?
After every 3,
either 5 seconds or 3 events. Either 5 seconds or 3 events. Okay, which one is happened first? Okay, let me showcase to you. I'm just sending one message. I'm waiting for 5 seconds. Which one is happening first then? 5 seconds will happening first. 3 records are not going. Still it will create a file. So now 3 files, I'm refreshing to see 4th file. This contains the data whatever is sent. Okay, so now other scenario is you type as much as fast now. Less than 5 seconds I have typed, but I type more than 3 records now. All these will going to come as a files. You see? So that is the concept now. You have to define what is your expectation. Generally we keep large number here. just for only practice purpose I'm keeping small numbers here now, but in real time you will be having lot, because you cannot have a small file like this, correct? You all know that problem. Okay, it will be real times a bigger number. So we will configure that based on our configuration. Flume automatically will observe that. It's not like what you have to define only first, and whenever I'm doing modification, am I restarting this command? I'm not doing it, correct? It automatically
No.
taken care. Okay, it will keep on look for this file changes now. Whenever the changes are happen, it will be going to taken care now. That's what exactly what I want to convey here. So on top of this, there are some more use cases. You want to play it here like what? So in my blog, streaming projects, Flume one tab is there. Here like what 14 use cases are there now, and every use case how to execute it like what in the project link is there, and here like what PDF file is given. In this PDF file like what with the screenshots wise like what action need to be triggered, how result will come, everything is like what step by step it is given now. So make sure that like what you can just look at this if you're not practicing, also at least like what look at this files and look at all these 14 use cases now. 14 use cases here. You can download it also. It's a somewhat latency, it's slow right now. Okay, there are 14 use cases, different scenarios now. Writing into HBase, writing into Cassandra, writing into MongoDB, writing into Phoenix, like this, like writing into Hive. Different use cases I have built now. Okay, just please you want to understand the scenarios like what, you can take a look on this. That's what my intention. After done the actual practice now, whatever the practice we are talking about, once that is completed, then come back to this and do it now. Is it everyone is clear? Okay, so till this like what everyone please put in the Flume level, and the next one is like what Kafka, and tomorrow I'm going to talk about that one. Okay, any questions? Anyone have it?
Question.
Okay. Okay, fine. Just you can take a look and we'll discuss tomorrow then. Thanks everyone.